Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Another episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
The show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I am your other co-host, David Bell. And we have a special guest by the name of...
Oh, you want me to say my own name?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like a peasant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's Jason Pargin, a New York Times bestselling author, former cracked guy. I'm too annoyed. I'm too annoyed to start the show because, and I don't want to pull back the curtain here, but we were expecting to have the Sonic 2 trailer for this show. And again, as some of you know, the way this industry works, they will, if they think there's going to be a negative reaction to a trailer, they will hold it until after our show has recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, oh, we know they can kill this thing like in the crib.
Exactly.
Hypecast can make or break a movie.
Yeah, it's like those restaurant critics, like, new place opens, like, oh, if we don't, please this one food writer from the New York Times, like, we're dead. So yeah, they're hiding it from us.
It's really sneaky. Yeah, and I think this is the last Hypecast we're doing for the year, too. So, they're going to sneak this out and hope we forget about it. But we won't.
We won't. It literally just dropped as we're speaking.
Really?
Yeah, I'm seeing, images from it. It's a lot of scowling cartoon characters, looking determined. I don't understand Sonic fandom, but anyway.
It's whatever. I don't understand it, but, I'm not mad at it, No, if your thing is Sonic the Hedgehog, then good for you.
Sure.
It's like anything else. It's like Mario or,
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
You see, he's a hedgehog who runs fast.
And no. This has nothing to do with the Sega Genesis and blast processing and all of that stuff. That's all. Mm-hmm. The issue is, I'm not there used to be a pastime of making fun of furries on the internet. I'm over that. I get it. It's a thing.
Sure.
They're not hurting anybody. But it is clear Hollywood is well aware that there are furries in their audience. So the movie Zootopia, it's like, oh, that's a sexy bunny they've done there. I can tell this was designed to appeal to people who find that bunny attractive. It's not my thing, but it is clear from the design that they had furrydom in mind because that's part of what will drive merchandise and awareness, things like that, right? So when Sonic comes out and I see the way they've designed the Sonic and how mad people got about it, I legitimately do not know, is this furries wanting a sexier Sonic? Because there's a fair amount of sexual Sonic content on the internet for those of you who are too innocent to.
There are treasure troves of it.
Yeah, it's not a minor thing, and therefore it's not a minor part of the fandom. So when the outrage over for people that somehow missed this, they released initial images of the Sonic for the original movie. And the outrage over how weird it looked was so strong, they actually went back to the drawing board and re-rendered it for the entire film. I think delayed the movie over it. Mm-hmm. But to this day, I don't know if that backlash was partially coming from the people who were horny for Sonic.
I don't know. There's probably a certain percentage. He did look bad. He looked bad and weird.
Or if it was just because they thought it was a bad and ugly design.
Yeah, he looks much better now. Like, it looks appropriately cartoon. Like, the original one had, like, human eyes and human teeth. It was real off-putting.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely not sexy.
It was bad. And it was definitely not sexy.
Could have been sexier, for sure.
I've never seen the first Sonic movie. I would be curious seeing the sequel. Like, is there anything in there, like, where it's clear they've kind of tilted it toward, like, hey, it's like fan service for it's like, oh, here's the sexy Sonic girl or whatever, or here's Knuckles and, he's bending over in front of the camera. Or do they just not, are they ignoring that? Because I'm not part of that community, I don't know, but I feel like there's definitely, that's part of it.
Yeah, the first movie was a perfectly serviceable kids movie. It didn't go for the sexiness. Jim Carrey
it left a lot of sexiness on the table, if we're going to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it did. It had a lot of room to be sexy, and it wasn't.
It could have flexed those sexy muscles, and it didn't.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, good for them for showing that restraint.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to stop the show and watch the new Sonic trailer, or do we think that the listeners don't care? I don't know how to find it on here. Is it just buried in the trending Twitter topics? Am I going to have to try to find?
Yeah. That's all I did.
It's pretty much all over Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching it right now without sound, and it looks fine. It looks like an extension of the first one. Like, it's ramped up. There's more fluffy characters. Jim Carrey looks zanier. It's a whole new adventure. And that's, that's whatever.
Throw Knuckles in there, throw Tails in there. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Throw them in an airplane.
Robbing an armored car?
Yeah. I think the first Sonic, like, they felt the need to sort of introduce us to the world and get us, like, slowly used to the concept of Sonic existing in the live action world. And now we're just like, we're doing it.
We're
right?
just going hog
like
wild,
it looks like he's on a treasure hunt or something. It's just a full adventure. And now we can actually, like, get moving. In a lot of ways, this is probably the only Sonic that matters. I bet I'll actually enjoy it more than the first one.
I didn't mind the first one. We reviewed it.
I didn't. I just didn't care. Yeah. We have producers to thank.
He's like stealing an armored car. I guess we can do that.
I've totally wrecked your template for the show. You're supposed to be doing the opening, the thanking of the people who make the show possible.
Listen, it's a special episode. We can break format.
Yeah.
Now it's like an egg is coming and there's a tornado. Damn, this trailer. I'm not going to lie, you guys. Sonic 2 is upping the ante. It looks like a lot more is at stake this time around.
I think people will be excited to know that we have witnessed it in real time, and they get to listen to us react.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, do you have any thoughts on the Sonic trailer?
Is the yellow Sonic, is that a female Sonic, or is that...
I think that's Knuckles, isn't it?
Knuckles is red. The yellow one, I feel like is... I don't... The fox is Tails. So, yeah. That's Tails.
Okay.
That would be the yellow one. Flying the airplane, yeah, that's Tails.
Okay. Yeah, Knuckles does show up in the trailer as well.
Where did Tails get a pilot's license? I don't know how many hours Tails could have possibly logged in whatever alternate dimension he's from.
Yeah, honestly, he probably stole that
there's
plane.
Yeah, there's Knuckles, because Knuckles has huge hands, right?
Right.
Yeah, like his name. He has enormous knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this looks... Oh, yeah, Casey's shredding some powder. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Jim Carrey's got a big old mustache.
Yeah, it looks extreme.
Mm-hmm. It looks appropriately extreme with at least 2 X's.
Yeah,
at least.
It looks like this is a character with attitude.
Yeah, you see him scarfing down those chili dogs. You don't do that unless you have a sufficient amount of tude to support it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and name some producers.
All right. Well, shoot, folks. We got some producers to thank, starting with Samuel Beckett's Donuts and Mortgage Emporium. Thank you very much. Thank you to Ryan, the Silly Money Goose. Thank you to Snapper Carr, Punches God in the Dick. Thank you to @NerdNumbers. Thank you to Mike the Lurker and Fighter. I still got Fighter there. I didn't change it this time. Sorry, Mike. Big thanks to DJ Finney. Mm-hmm. Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire. Thank you to Brockway, loves the meat Millie. Thank you to Grumblebee. Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid adorned with Christmas lights.
Woo! All right, let me
Tis
jump in
the
here.
season.
Tis the season for just alarmed, terrified pyramids of horses. Let me jump in here. Thank you to Look Mom on a podcast. Thank you to Seismic Chars Noise. Bwah.
Bwam.
Thank you to Deborah is awesome,
Thank
Barbara
you.
is great, and Cancer can go to hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcanoconiosis Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you to the baby from Eraserhead. Thank you to
Thank
Chiz
you.
Lily Tits.
Thank
you
you.
to these 7 Ps.
Thank
you
you.
to Breezy Ruizy. Thank you to Davey Francis for the Revenge.
Thank you.
And thank you to MVB.
Thank you very much. Jason, you noted in this doc that perhaps we should talk about what movies are coming up. We sort of have a tradition with you where we go over this, so I say we do it again.
Sure, yeah, it's the movies that have been delayed.
Yeah, due to the pandemic, because we first recorded a show in something like maybe June of 2020 after Hollywood came out and announced we're just pushing everything. And so that started the tradition of when I'm on the show of trying to sit down and figure out, wait, did that movie ever come out?
Right.
For example, the Kingsman sequel, this would be Kingsman 3?
3, yeah.
Shocked to find
a prequel.
I specifically remember this movie coming out, people watching it, reviews, TV ads. Apparently not, because it's coming out in December 22nd this year. A movie because when I saw the ads for it, I thought, oh, they've already made a part 4. It's like, no, it's the one that's been sitting on the shelf for literally more than 2 years. It's supposed to come out in September 2020.
I had this discovery. I was watching I went to the theater last week and they had trailers, and I had this shock as well.
I want to let you guys know that September 2020 was actually its 4th release date. This movie was originally pushed back in 2019. Like, it was supposed to come out in November of 2019, and then they bumped it to February, I guess, because it was like a schedule reshuffle. So I remember at the time it was like, oh, it must not be very good if they're moving it to February. And then, of course, the pandemic happened.
Wow.
So this movie was actually supposed to come out like 3 fucking years ago.
There's actors in it that are like dead now or in jail. It's like, it's got like a guest spot from Bill Cosby because that was from before he was infamous or whatever. It's just such a long time in the world.
Is anybody excited for this? I didn't see the second one.
I thought it bombed. I thought the second one bombed so hard that it killed the franchise, but I guess not.
Sure.
I guess not.
I remember it not getting great reviews, but okay, I'm looking it up now. It made money.
Okay.
It got terrible reviews.
Right. It's kind of a shame because Matthew Vaughn, who directs these, I really like his early stuff. I believe he did Layer Cake. Mm-hmm. He did one of the X-Men. And he has that Guy Ritchie style. In fact, he's worked with Guy Ritchie. Kick-Ass, that's another one. And I think his style is really good until you pour CGI on it. Like, that's my personal opinion, which is my problem with these, which is that, like, the action is less, like, charming when it's all CGI action. So, like, these, I just sort of, I don't know. These, they don't appeal to me anymore.
That's fair. I've never seen any of the Kingsman movies.
Really?
Yeah.
The first one was fine.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. It's, totally fine. Totally fine movies.
Sure.
People like them, and so be it.
But the Mission Impossible 7, which is was in the news because of that leaked recording of Tom Cruise going crazy on his crew there about them not following COVID protocols, and that went out as under the guise of, wow, Tom Cruise is such a jerk, you shouldn't talk to people like that. And I don't know, I was like, man, he's trying to get them to put their masks on. Like, clearly this is not the first time he's had to say this, and he's growing frustrated, and he's got this, probably $250 million project entirely on his shoulders. And yeah, it probably is hard to then watch some guy towing cable around with his mask under his chin, putting everyone at risk. And because, the whole issue was you couldn't get these film shoots insured. Insurers just wouldn't insure them. So they somehow had wrangled it so that they were getting coverage and could do it. But it's like, man, if we get one positive test, we're dead. Like, they shut this all down. Everybody, you all lose your jobs. Do you understand? And I don't know. He lost his cool. As someone who was a boss who lost his cool frequently, I sympathize. It comes from a place of stress. It comes from a place of fear. Like, I'm trying to protect your jobs.
Right.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. We don't have to rehash that news story, but yeah.
But anyway, the movie is coming out September of next year, it turns out. I thought it was coming out this Christmas. I thought it was, which that makes no sense. We would be inundated with ads by now. But I'm saying I spent all year thinking it was a Christmas this year movie. And then suddenly on December 9th, it's like, wait, did Mission Impossible 7 come out? No, it's been put. So this is
point of fact. They're already filming 8.
They just went ahead and moved on. This is its 4th release day because it was going to be spring 2020 and then fall 20 or spring 2021, then fall 2021, and then spring 2022, and then they finally moved back to fall 2022. You would assume it will meet that date. I don't know how long the new variant is going to be around, or if they're going to shut down theaters again. But yeah, they're just filming the next one.
It's wild because, you remember when movies would come out and then, they'd wait to see how the movies did, and then they'd make another. Now they're, banking them like they're podcast episodes.
Yeah,
they're
they're episodes of a TV show. It's like, now we're going to record a bunch at once.
What else are you
put them out?
What else are you going to do?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And
honestly, you don't want Tom Cruise just out there on his own doing stuff. You want to keep him occupied with movies.
He needs to be
for the good of everyone.
He needs to be monitored for the good.
You don't want to hear that he has purchased an island somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, for
the Mission Impossible movies are the equivalent of those toys in a doctor's waiting room. We got to keep Tom Cruise occupied.
I mean, speaking of which,
Top Gun. Remember the Top Gun movie that was supposed to come out in 2015,
July of 2019.
My God, I'm still excited. This is one of the only ones that I have maintained my excitement for. And I'm not even a big Top Gun fan.
No, it's because it's Joseph Kosinski directing, and he made Tron Legacy and a couple of other cool movies. He's a good director.
And Oblivion. Yeah, he's in terms of visuals, he's an amazing director. And so, I'm just psyched for that alone.
Plus, it's a Tom Cruise movie, so it's actually going to be actual fighter jets and aerial photography. And not just a bunch of CGI models.
He absolutely stole an F-14 to make Top Gun.
Yeah,
and it's going to be him in the cockpit flying it. So, no, I have no doubt this will be at least a decent movie. But yeah, it has been gathering dust on somebody's hard drive since the tail end of the Trump years. I'm trying to remember. Right. I'm trying to remember summer of 2019, because it got pushed back. The other one we mentioned earlier, it got pushed back for non-pandemic reasons once, and then fell into pandemic and just been in limbo. Because how else would it? Tom Cruise obviously has moved on to shoot the Mission Impossible things. Obviously it's been in the can for a while. But I now I'm trying to think back to summer of 2019, and it just you might as well. It's like the fall of ancient Rome. I don't even know what we were doing in that era, what we were watching.
I don't know.
Endgame, I think. I can't even remember. But yeah, Tom Cruise is visibly older than he was. Yeah. So when you're seeing these trailers, he does not look like that right now.
It's wild how millions, if not billions of dollars are riding on Tom Cruise not like getting a Twitter account or saying anything wrong publicly. You know what I mean? Like I feel like these studios are like, please, for the love of God, Tom, just lay low until we get these movies out. Don't do anything stupid.
Dave,
don't commit any crimes.
Dave, he is so micro. They auditioned girlfriends for him. Like, he's so
right.
I mean, if the Scientology documentaries are to be believed, let me put that out there for legal reasons.
Sure.
But like, he is so micromanaged. Like,
yeah.
Lord, no, he wouldn't have a Twitter account that he would actually personally be tweeting from.
Right.
Yeah.
For
and
the
to be
reasons
clear,
you pointed out.
Yeah, exactly.
We are fortunate that he went into film and not something else. I'm just saying. He is, that is one very disciplined and driven person. And he has recovered from things that would have sunk any other famous person. It's like, we can't stay mad at Tom Cruise. Like, because he could be a cult leader anytime he wants. He could just flip it on and start a cult. And
point of fact, if I remember correctly, he before he started acting, he was a seminary student. Like, he was literally going to be like a religious.
He was on his way. Yeah. My goodness.
Anyway, so that's next year. I guess the point I wanted to make on the show next year is crowded with stuff. You've got Doctor Strange into the multiverse of the mouth of the multiverse of madness. I don't remember that's in May next year. That would be that's not Memorial Day, I guess, but whatever, that May window. Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah.
He's going to be so old when this
How old is
out.
Harrison Ford? Somebody look it up. How old is Harrison Ford?
He's damn near 80. He's like 78.
All right,
I'm looking it up.
I have to look it up.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was.
He is 79 years old.
I do not know at all whether or not Indiana Jones 5 will be any good. I am telling you, the press tour and the press junket with Harrison Ford will be a treasure.
Yeah, it'll be incredible.
It will be must watch. I would pay movie theater ticket prices to watch cranky 81-year-old Harrison Ford, because again, that's July next year, having to talk about, because by now everyone knows how, like what a curmudgeon he is. So reporters intentionally try to get him to, so they love to spring that, well, did Han shoot first? Ha! And just to see him get mad. And as he gets older, he cares less and less, obviously, because what are you going to do? You can't cancel him now. He's So that will be amazing. And of course, as everyone has been looking, this is all I'm hearing about. Next year, this time next year, 1 year from now, December 16th, 2022. Of course, Avatar 2. Finally, all of America has had Avatar fever since. What year did that come out? 2009?
2009.
Yeah, the last 13 years. And Avatar Con every year, everybody's showing up in costume, and the toys, still popular with kids.
I've seen books have been written about it, but it's really staggering how Avatar has maintained its popularity since 2009. Like, it's people still, everywhere you go, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Yeah, the main character, the protagonist's name, who all three of us instantly know.
Nope.
Jake Sully.
Wait.
Jake Sully. Of
Yep,
course.
yep,
It's Jake
yep,
Sully, obviously. Obviously.
So do you know when they were first going to release this movie? December 2014. That is almost 10 years.
A long fucking time ago.
Was to co-star Kevin Spacey.
Oh my God. Filming finally started in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. The digital work started in 2017. So this movie is locked down. Whatever it is. It was locked down before they started actually filming it. What a nightmare. I can't wait to watch it.
It's got Tom Holland in it playing a toddler.
Yeah. It is
6 years old.
When he was a child.
It is possible that it will be the best like the highest grossing movie in the world because everybody will go see it ironically. Because like I want to know what this is going to be so bad.
Hey, I straight up am eager to see what that first trailer looks like because it will either be like mind-boggling or it will look like the worst thing ever filmed. It
is the Chinese democracy of movies.
Yeah.
He's referring to a specific album from a band. If for those of you listening think Tom just said something extremely offensive there. He's talking about a Guns N' Roses album that was promised for like 20 straight years, and when it came out, it was most of the band had been fired, and it was just Axl Rose at that point. And yeah, just Axl Rose and several people who he lured into the studio, and anyway, but and then all of the franchise stuff that got backed up next year has got the Jurassic World sequel, of course, the Batman movie starring Robert. I want to say Robert Patrick. That would be a different. Robert Pattinson.
I want to see that Batman movie, but yes,
absolutely.
Another Minions movie, the next Thor movie, Black Adam, Black Panther 2, Aquaman 2. Like all of that, you think about how that's all going to be packed into the same 2 release windows. Basically, you got summer and holidays, but this is where everything landed, unless God forbid the pandemic is somehow still going on next year and they have to push it again. Right. It should be a traffic jam because, you know, stuff has been out of production. Like there was a long window where nothing had been shot. So we're in a little bit of a, like this holiday season, like we've got the James Bond movie that was long delayed, you know, and of course we've got, what else is coming this year before the end of the year? Oh, Spider-Man,
the
of
Matrix,
course. Spider-Man, yeah.
It's a lot. I feel like a lot of these they're doing like late next year because they're scared the pandemic won't be over. Mm-hmm. But like, what if there's like a dip? You know, like right now everybody's going to theaters. What if it gets bad again, and they just have to delay it again? It's a gamble no matter what it feels like.
Yeah.
I want to note real quick, Avatar 2 also has a budget of $250 million.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. Anywho.
That's the budget they've chosen to report.
Tell us.
If it's been farting around for 8 years, like that's people being paid that whole time. Like that's generally what drives a budget way, way, way up is if a movie has been in the works forever and ever because you're tying up studio space and everything else, or if they just had to reshoot the entire movie at the last minute, which has also occurred at various times. But the one thing I was looking at, I was trying to figure out what the Star Wars movie is next year because I was looking in that slate and realized there wasn't one. So then Googled it. It's like, well, what's the new, like, wasn't there an Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff movie, or is there a new trilogy that, like, and it turns out there's, at the moment, nothing scheduled.
Yeah.
That Rogue Squadron movie to be directed by Patty Jenkins has got delayed due to unnamed creative differences. I've not even seen speculation about a year or for that. And then everything else is just vague rumors. Like allegedly the Rian Johnson new trilogy is still technically a thing that could possibly happen. But there's like 5 other rumored films, some of which, because like the Boba Fett movie got dumped into Disney Plus as a series, that got like that production just got converted to series.
It seems like most of the, well, not even it seems like all of the Star Wars stuff that's coming out, it's all Disney Plus shows. Like the I forget what the character's name is, but it's the Padawan character from the Clone Wars cartoon. Her show's coming out.
I had no idea.
The Obi-Wan thing is going to be a show.
Right. Are those 2 different departments? They tend to be, right? With like the TV department and film.
I would have,
because I guess I'm wondering if what happened with that last Star Wars really resonated with them or something, and they decided to like change. I don't know. Like it really seems like there was a real shit show in making that original trilogy, even behind the scenes. Like if you like everything I've read about it behind the scenes, it just really seems like there was a lot of problems, and maybe they're reassessing. Because it was that whole thing where they announced, like, we're going to do a new Star Wars every year.
Yeah.
And then they came out and they're like, never mind.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if they're like paying attention to what people were saying and are now like,
I think it would be hard to ignore the reaction to Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
I think so
that
too.
Probably has a lot to do with it.
I guess I'm just kind of shocked. The idea that Star Wars is just a TV show now, is
very weird.
To me. But they probably already have made their money back from the Lucasfilm purchase just through merchandising rights. Like they probably have sold enough toys and stuff. Like those Baby Yoda toys probably sold enough on their own to pay them back for what they. So it's just I don't know. I always still think of it as a big screen experience, and the idea of the like nobody is looking forward to the next Star Wars movie, whatever it is. That's a new thing in my lifetime.
Yeah,
because I was born with these movies.
Literally never happened.
Yeah, in the time I've been alive, but I don't doubt that if I went and asked, any of my friends who've got kids that are teenagers or younger kids, are you pumped for the next Star Wars movie, whatever it is, they'd say, I haven't even seen the last ones. Like I don't know.
The Lucasfilm logo is now like from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan in trailers. Yeah. Like it comes up and everybody's like, all right, fuck.
Just, how long did it take to do that? 4 years? Just 4 short years. Produced the biggest franchise in history, arguably, to a TV series that kind of a few people are interested in. I don't know.
Anyway. Right. Should we talk about trailers?
I guess so, yeah. At some point, we should probably talk about trailers.
Yeah. I guess this is as good as any time.
Yeah.
Well, let's discuss this new Matrix Resurrections trailer.
This is
we discussed it a different trailer last week as well.
Yeah, this is interesting. Where each new Matrix, because I'm not a huge Matrix fan. I like the first movie. I don't care for the sequels, and I never got super into it. So like when this movie was announced, I was like, yeah, sure, okay. But like each trailer that comes out, I'm like weirdly getting more excited for it.
Yeah, because the first trailer was just, here's a series of things you've seen before. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, here's Neo stopping the bullets with his hand. Here's somebody, jumping off a building. It was just like a highlight reel of, hey, we reshot some stuff from 20 years ago, and and only in the era of somehow worse CGI, and so now they've revealed like that they've started to hint at the hook that there's something here with, were the previous movies part of like this cycle or part of this illusion or something that is at least promising something interesting rather than, oh no, we have to do the exact same thing last time. Neo has to wake himself up again to the Matrix or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a theory that's going around the internet, but just from what I've guessed watching these trailers, if the premise turns out to be that like the original trilogy was all just part of the Matrix, like they never got out, they're all still in the Matrix, I will lose my mind. That's right. That's for some reason, like that idea really appeals to me. I don't know why.
I mean, that certainly it appeals to me, but that is in my mind also the easiest answer. Of
course, yeah.
To how you revive it. It does seem like what they're doing is a soft reboot, but they're actually giving the cliche of a soft reboot some sort of narrative purpose. Where like I feel like the first half is gonna repeat a lot of beats from the original film. And then maybe they'll like break out of that pattern, something like, I think the idea is that, yeah, perhaps they're trapped in the Matrix and they're repeating a lot of stuff over again, because in this trailer, there's definitely like the Trinity escaping the cops stuff and like the rooftop helicopter stuff and flipping in the hallways and Agent Smith is back. And I just hope they use that cliche of the reboot to their advantage rather than just doing a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
With reboots, it's hard to tell until you watch it almost. Like, was this something they made because they had like this vision of, we've got this really interesting place we can take the lore, or was it made because they were just like, hey, it'd be fun for us to get together and make something again. Keanu, you want to do another Matrix or something? You know what I mean? It's like sometimes like sequels that come way, way later. Like the Ghostbusters Afterlife thing where it was kind of, I don't know, it was like a weird tribute movie.
Right.
So here, the whole nature of this, the whole point of this franchise is that it's like these mind-blowing kind of mind-twisting ideas and deep, diving into these ideas of control and how society controls you and free will and how systems give you the illusion of control. Like there's always this interesting stuff at play. It would be sad if it kind of just turns out to be an excuse for the action scenes, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's both. I think the Wachowskis have had kind of, I've enjoyed a lot of their newer films, and Sense8 I really liked, but I think it's seen as like a bad run that they had, right? Jupiter Ascending was ridiculous.
Yeah, Cloud Atlas.
I enjoy, yeah. And then you have like Lana Wachowski's response to the red pilling stuff, which was amazing. Where the idea of red pilling has become like this right-wing terminology. And so I think that's like a frustration. And I think that there's like, we've all sort of sensed like, it really seems like now's a good time for another Matrix. Like, I feel like that was all kind of a thing people were talking about. So I feel like there might have been some point where they're like, we should really figure out another Matrix. And it probably started there. Kind of just like the Matrix sequels. Like, the first Matrix was very conclusive.
Yeah.
And then they're like, man, we need more. And so they're like, wow, we'll figure it out. And the Matrix is so, like, abstract that you can really, like, whip out whatever bullshit you want to, like, explain it. And so it's like, yeah, fuck it. It's hard because I think the only Matrix movie that wasn't just a vehicle for action scenes was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Boy, it's kind of heartbreaking to think of it that way because they've always made these really bold choices, and it sucks that it's like kind of greeted with, oh, this thing you made is ridiculous and it looks ridiculous, and it's like, yeah, but how many really interesting big budget filmmakers do you have that is not who will really go out and make something that's a tone that's totally different from what you would normally see.
Right.
Or it's like an idea or a concept that's just so totally out there that they're willing to make it look ridiculous and make it look weird. Because again, I've made this point probably on previous episodes of the show that the original Star Wars was a weird movie. Like, it was so weird they didn't want to release it. And it's like, people, if you understand, you're never going to get the next Star Wars unless you let weirdos make weird stuff. Like, George Lucas is a weird guy with weird ideas. So, like, his original draft of the Star Wars movie was nuts. But you need that. You're not going to get the next phenomenon unless you let people take these weird risks. And I hate the idea that it's like, if you're going to get a budget to make another big movie, it's got to be the one franchise that makes money. Like, that's it. Like, this is the only thing we're going to give you a budget for. I hope that wasn't it, but I don't know. Right.
But you're absolutely right, where, like, you look at Jupiter Ascending and Cloud Atlas, and it's like, man, those are really original films.
Yeah.
Are they good? They got some problems. I like Cloud Atlas a lot.
I kind of do, too.
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending is really schlocky, but I also kind of appreciate that. And yeah, maybe we should have jumped on Jupiter Ascending and made like 6 of them. Like, maybe we missed that chance.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope this movie is great. And like, I'm still enjoying Marvel, but I do, wouldn't it be fun if like everybody was just suddenly really into the Matrix next? Like, that's the next
10
thing.
10 years of the Matrix. Hell yeah.
Yeah, until we're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of the Matrix. I just think that would be a funny timeline to live in. So,
yeah, no, I'm for it. Bring me the Matrix future.
Yeah,
the date that comes out on, is that right around Christmas? At the 20 what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right before Christmas.
It's like the 22nd, I think.
Yep.
It'll also be on HBO Max though, so if you don't want to go out to the theater, you can just kind of sit at home and watch it with your Christmas tree.
Oh wow! I'm going to be in Massachusetts, and I'm going to have to see this in the theater that I saw the original Matrix. I'm very excited about that.
So that is going to be another day and date streaming where they're going to have no clue whatsoever. Like the press and the general audience will have no idea whether or not it was considered a success.
Yes.
Because the actual box office ticket sales will obviously be depressed by the fact that it's running simultaneously on streaming. Same thing would happen with Suicide Squad reboot, and we'll just never know, because how does HBO even measure the success of that? Like, they can see viewership numbers, but did it drive subscriptions? Did they make money? So
who can say? I don't know. I bet it'll do really well, though, even by whatever numbers they have. I also like that this December, combined with the new Spider-Man, is like, this is the winter of going back to like 2003. Like, we're just reliving the early 2000s.
Yeah, the third,
and that's great.
Hell yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Oh man, let's move on.
All right, next trailer is for Gold.
Yeah.
This is Zac Efron guarding gold in the desert,
Like
and
a really big piece of gold.
yeah, like while his friend is like, "I'm gonna pick you up," and like there's no one there, so I don't know. Maybe just go with your friend and come back with him, but he's there, and he's like falling apart.
Yeah, he's getting like irradiated by the sun. So I think it is a post-apocalyptic movie.
okay, because in our notes I have the question: is this portraying a post-apocalypse, or is it just Australia? Because
I mean,
it's
it could be
it's a
either
desert that's
one.
like totally uninhabitable is the premise, but I don't know if this is supposed to be like a post-nuclear thing, because if it is, it's like, well, what good is a bunch of gold going to do you in a post-nuclear society?
Right.
You're going to want to trade in
cool stuff out of it. You can make like hats,
Yeah, you can make gold hats.
jaunty little wasteland hats.
like the richest person in a post-apocalypse has like access to clean water and canned food and stuff. It's not gold. It's like, oh, I can make jewelry. It's like, well, all right, well, look at you. You're Mr. Fancy with your gold. But no, it looks like this very tight, tense thriller in a trailer that really does seem to take you right through the whole movie.
It does, right? Yeah, it kind of feels like every single beat of the movie is in this trailer, but I don't know.
But no, and I'm so ashamed to admit, I'm blanking on why Zac Efron is famous. He came from what?
High School Musical.
That's
Oh,
right. I of course did know that. I was just testing you guys. But no, this is why the publicity is around, like, oh, Zac Efron has transformed himself into this desert person he's like ugly. He made himself ugly for this movie.
right.
It's a kind of premise that usually appeals to me, like a single person trapped in a single location. So
Yeah.
we'll see. The trailer, like we said, does kind of show you every beat, but I don't know. Maybe it could still
be interesting.
I don't know.
There's
Probably really cheap to make.
what's the Mads Mikkelsen movie in this genre that he made where he was a guy in the Arctic?
Oh gosh, Ice.
His
what was
plane
that
had
called?
crashed.
I know what you're. It
called
was like last year. I
Polar.
think. Polar. That's it.
But that was that in my view is my all-time favorite of that, where it's one or two people in a desperate survival situation, and it just keeps getting more and more tense, and they keep getting more and more beaten up as it goes.
I see that his co-star in this movie is Vanessa Hudgens, Jason. So I feel like you're just a really big High School Musical fan.
I had no idea, but yeah, this appears to be they went to their agent and said, I want something that's going to bury all of that old that teen movie stuff, and then 5-6 years from now they'll be doing another High School Musical movie.
Oh man, they better.
Because where they're playing the teachers in the high school or whatever, because
Right.
they had to retreat back to safety.
All right, well, let's keep moving. Let's talk about Studio 666. I almost put this in movies that deserve more hype because I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah, it sort of came out of nowhere. It's Dave Grohl and the rest of the Foo Fighters recording their new album, but also they're being possessed by evil demons.
So is this
Yeah.
a full-blown feature-length film they've made?
Apparently.
Or is this just like a fun tie-in video that's going to be on YouTube? Like, is this going to be a theatrical
it's coming
release?
to theaters, yeah. It says
Really?
at the end,
Yeah.
coming to theaters, buy your tickets now. So I assume this is a full-blown theatrical experience.
See, if I was rich on like a level of Dave Grohl, this is the type of thing I like to think I would do.
Yeah.
In terms of
Absolutely.
like making a fun movie, like, because you now have you've got the influence to get it released, actually get it made, get some money invested in it, and it's a fun, like, they're all getting torn apart by monsters and stuff. They clearly
they're
yeah.
a blast
levitating
on
and
it.
shooting lightning and fireballs at each. It's clearly like Dave Grohl's house is where it takes place.
Yeah.
So it's,
In reality, I know for a fact that if I had that exact same amount of money and influence, I would just do nothing with it.
Right,
I would not do this. I would spend even more time just scrolling on my phone, because it's like, you can't stop me. I don't have that. No,
I'm untouchable now.
I can do even less than I was doing before.
It's what fascinates me about people like Elon Musk. And it's like, if I had that much money, I would not be anywhere near Twitter.
Right.
You would never hear from me again.
I want to note that it's story by credit, Dave Grohl, and then screenplay credit is the guy who wrote the new Pet Cemetery, as well as The Grudge, the new Grudge,
Sure.
and the new Jacob's Ladder. So he clearly just like got a horror writer.
Yeah, he had
He's
an
just like,
idea,
"Make this."
and they had a conference call, and they sent this guy off to write a screenplay. Please, listeners, we're not saying this movie will be good.
No.
Right.
It's clear they had fun making it, and I'm sure that music fans this will be a treasured part of their archives or whatever, to have this film that exists. Because like Kiss made several movies. People forget that back in their heyday, and they were like, at least one of them was some sort of a horror movie, right? You guys familiar with the Kiss?
Yeah, like Psycho Circus or something.
Yeah,
Right. Same with Guar. This used to be a thing that bands would do.
The Beatles made several movies.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
This will feature Will Forte, Jeff Garlin, Whitney Cummings, Leslie Grossman. So, yeah, again, it's just them having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, check out the trailer. It looks like kind of thrown together, too. Like, the effects look kind of silly.
Yeah. I mean, it is not meant to be taken seriously either. So,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm sure it'll be a delightful little time for fans of Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep chugging along here. Station 11. This is a TV show?
Yeah, it's a limited series on Amazon. I think it's Amazon. Oh, it's
HBO Max.
HBO Max.
It's yeah.
So post-apocalypse, after a flu wipes out most of the world, this girl hides out in this train station with this strange man that just happens to rescue her off the street when all the shit's going down, and it's about like people emerging several years later and trying to rebuild society, I think.
Yeah, and Lori Petty is there for literally one shot
She
of the
sure
trailer.
is, and it was a delight to see her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, it's Lori Petty.
Tank Girl.
Yeah, this is based on a famous novel that is an award-winning, hugely selling, famous novel. And I think, in my understanding, because I almost bought it one time until I found out it was about a pandemic.
Right.
It's in a post-apocalypse, and there's like this acting troupe going from like settlement to settlement, and it's about these people like trying to keep hope and humanity alive, and it's probably very tragic and sad, or maybe not. I don't know. I will never read it or watch this. There may come a time when I'm old and gray, when I will be in the mood to watch a movie or TV show about a pandemic and about how people act in a pandemic and all of that. It is not today. It will not be next year. It will not be in the year 2030. It will be, I predict, a long while before I'm in the mood to ever watch something on this subject.
Wait, it's about an acting troupe?
Yeah, because that's the point. Is
no.
But that's the point. Is they're kind of like trying to give people some source of joy. Like they're putting on like a little show, and it's this ragtag little group of performers going from settlement to settlement and trying to like remind people, like keep the flame of creativity and humanity alive.
Culture and creativity. It's like the Postman, right? Where they were trying to rebuild the post office because that's like the first. The foundation of society or something.
It clearly is the Postman. I was not going to say that because I didn't want to turn people against it. Because infamously, the movie that destroyed Kevin Costner's career.
It is quite literally the Postman.
I really want to see a version of this where instead of an acting troupe, it's an improv troupe. And they just keep getting like run out of every town.
Dave, it's a post-apocalypse. They're not working from any scripts, man. Like it is
that's
an improv troupe.
Yeah, because all I could think is if I was in like some post-apocalyptic cluster of people and an acting troupe showed up like, hey gang, we're gonna have fun tonight, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my town right now. But I guess they got no entertainment.
Well, the Old West had these. Like this is because post-apocalypse people don't realize post-apocalypse movies is just Old West genre remade for people that got tired of the Old West. And usually instead of like the Indians, it's zombies or something. And so that was the thing that existed in the pioneer days. Like, cause people like that life was just a drudgery nightmare of just hard labor and children dying. So yeah, they would come through town. It'd be a group of performers doing a variety show or something. And it was like the highlight of their year. Same thing with, the circus. It's once they had railroads to tote it around. So, but I assume like it sounds like a good premise for an ongoing series because it's kind of about their trials and tribulations and all of the way people deal with life in a post-apocalypse. And I am sure that other people will find this very rewarding to watch. I will not be one of those people. Even if I hear that this is the best show ever made, I will not watch it. I'm not in the mood. Just the same as if you make a movie or a series that's like clearly an analog for Trump or the Trump years, might be great. I'm not going to watch it.
Right. You're going to need at least a decade before looking at something like that, I feel like. Yeah, I mean, you describing this as a Western honestly made it more appealing to me. Because I kind of like that. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I haven't really watched any pandemic things yet.
No,
you know,
why the hell would you?
Right.
Like I didn't watch a single thing that was about the pandemic. Like none of the stuff they made that was about COVID. I haven't watched. I didn't watch the Stand remake. Like I'm not watching any of this. Like I totally get that. I have no desire to escape from the reality of a historic pandemic that is changing everyone's life
right
by watching a movie about a historic pandemic that is changing everyone's life.
It sucks because like a lot of this stuff, like when did this book come out?
Oh, before that.
2014.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff has probably been in production before the pandemic, like The Stand you mentioned, where it's like it comes out and they're like, hey, we got sort of a pandemic thing over here and no one is interested. So that like it's kind of a shame for some of these things. But yeah, I'm right there with you guys where it's like, yeah, it's not really the time. I'm just, burnt out.
Yeah, not their fault. I don't doubt that. Like the film and TV rights of this book probably went up for auction as soon as it came out. It's and everybody loved it. It's like, oh, this will be perfect. It's such a metaphor for how people deal with hardship or whatever. It's like, you couldn't have known.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's the same thing with that Roland Emmerich movie, that Moonfall. Like someday, it's like if next year the moon crashes into Earth, like who's going to want to go see that movie now? It's like, well, no, my grandma passed away when the moon attacked the Earth and the tentacles came out of it, and it turned out the moon was a giant alien egg. Is that what the purpose is?
It's an egg or a spaceship being driven by the. Either way, I'm going to try to time it so that I'm in the theater watching Moonfall when the moon crashes into the Earth. Mm-hmm. I hope to travel through time when that happens.
It's gonna take a lot for me to not watch.
See Moonfall.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Next trailer is Reacher.
This is
the Jack Reacher.
Yeah, the Jack Reacher series for Amazon Prime, starring Alan Richardson, who was Raphael in the new Ninja Turtles movies.
He sure was.
Yep.
I believe he is a textbook beefcake.
He is
right?
the beefiest cake.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this? The charisma of this guy.
The charisma. He's got all right charisma. He's. I actually think he was good as Raphael, even though those movies aren't great. And he was also on a show called Blue Mountain State, where he was pretty funny.
Okay.
But this movie, this trailer, I'll say, and all the fandom around Jack Reacher, because if you paid attention to social media or the internet at all when the 2 Tom Cruise movies came out, the overwhelming response was Tom Cruise is not a right fit for the role because Jack Reacher, the character, is this massive, physically imposing dude. So based on that, and on this trailer, it seems like the pitch for Jack Reacher is the same as Clifford the Big Red Dog, in that just look at how big he is. He's just the biggest guy. Look at how big he is. My God, what a big guy. That's it. That's that's happening in this trailer. Is how, look at this big motherfucker.
He's so big.
Watch the show.
It's not just that Tom Cruise is too small, because even the writer of the books is like, well, the idea is that he's like a killing machine, so technically you wouldn't have to be huge. But the concept of Jack Reacher is that he's this huge, I think I've read one of the books, is that he's this huge guy and he's homeless. He just travels around. He wears, they go out of their way to say that his clothes came from Goodwill. There's even a scene where they show Tom Cruise getting his clothes from a used clothing store. But then he walks out in this perfect LL Bean outfit or whatever.
It's like Tom Cruise in a tailored costume. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that was the whole thing, is that Jack Reacher, the idea is, the mental picture is he's this giant guy who bathed in a sink in a gas station. He doesn't care about physical possessions or about any of that stuff. And that's part of why he's dangerous. He has no attachments. He just wanders around solving strangers' problems and stuff. And he's this giant, filthy, terrifying man. It's not a deep premise,
it's like Kung Fu.
And the idea is he's an ex-military investigator. So he's got all these detective skills. And then the fight scenes and stuff you see in the trailer, if you watch the Jack Reacher movies, the whole thing is that he's not threatened by these fights. It's he's trash talks people, and it's clear he's going to win, and that's part of the appeal. So here, if you aren't familiar with the books, and maybe they're hugely popular, maybe that's not an issue, but it's just, this trailer is just this muscular guy punching people and then smirking about how easy the fight was. There's no tension here.
That is the premise of the trailer.
Yeah.
It's same thing they did in Hobbs and Shaw, where every comedy beat is how totally invincible these two guys are and how nothing can hurt them. And it's well, okay. I guess we're all just hanging out for 2 hours. I guess.
You guys gonna tell some jokes or something? I don't know what we're gonna do for 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess
we're
it's just
easily beating the shit out of all these guys.
Yeah, it's fun to watch them beat up bad guys, I guess. So, and I don't know, I got the same feel. I like that Red Notice movie on Netflix. I don't know if you guys did an episode about that.
We did not.
No.
But that was one of the few movies I've seen where it was too glib, even for me, where it was just too smirking and look how easily these bad guys are defeated. And I don't know, I guess.
Right, what's the point?
Yeah.
At that point.
I feel like the trailer, I'm fine giving this series a shot just based on what you just explained to us and kind of my awareness of it as a book series. But based just on this trailer, it's really boring. It's just yeah, he's this big guy. Sure, he's cool, but he's just slapping the bejesus out of. I mean, and it's not even he's not doing it in an interesting way. He's just bulldozing people. It's not like The Raid where it's this cool choreography. He's just punching people's lights out, and that's it.
Yeah. He's just bullying people.
He's just a gorilla beating the hell out of people.
Yeah, because you would like your heroes to be underdogs in some sense.
Right.
But also he's hugely muscular. He's muscular and blonde, which Jack Reacher is described as being blonde. But he's got that Hollywood gym body where they won't allow you to have any body hair. So he's like perfectly waxed and tanned. So he looks like a professional bodybuilder. Like he doesn't look like, again, this big rough dude who you would run into at like a biker bar, you know, drunk off his ass and living in his truck. He looks like a professional. He looks like an underwear model. He looks like a guy who his torso looks great for a living, but that's not the character. That guy is not a model. He's this big, filthy, terrifying dude. Like, he should have scars and stuff all over him. And I don't know. It just is Hollywood scared that like women won't go see it if the guy has like body hair. I don't think that's a thing. It feels like that aesthetic, like that. The way Chris Pratt made himself look and the way every action star has to, that specific gym body, and I would argue possibly some steroids, that's like the only acceptable physique now. I don't know.
And it really does ruin a lot of action, because like any action that's trying to start from like the underdog, I feel like even if it was written that way, they then cast a guy like this. And then it's just like, oh, he's just like this beautiful buff guy who clearly has never had any problems in his life, right? Like, it's just, I think the only, it's tough. Like that's what I appreciated about the movie Nobody, where they get Bob Odenkirk, who just like sort of looks more like a regular guy, but again, he's trained to kick ass in every situation, so it still kind of takes that away. There definitely is like a lack of like, you know, your diehards now, where someone actually seems like they're having trouble.
Element.
Yeah.
This is much more like a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah. It really is.
It's just never in trouble. Just embarrasses every villain that raises his hands to him.
Right, and it's weird that they would think we would want that.
I don't know.
See, it may be though that for like a certain type of person, this is their equivalent of watching like British Bake Off, where it's like chill. It's like you're not stressed out watching it. You're not on the edge. Although I guess in watching British Bake Off, there are some times where I'm terrified that like it's like, oh, bread is not going to pass Paul Hollywood's
flan going to collapse or something.
Yeah.
There's some great British Bake Off.
But people watch it because it's low stakes, and maybe they've got data saying that's what kind of people want to watch. The guy, somebody kind of does, he's like quipping and just he's out there punishing the bad guys, and that they don't want to see like angst. They don't want to see somebody who's like tortured, because that's the whole appeal of Jack Reacher. He's not haunted by anything. He does what he does because he likes it. He lives that way because he enjoys it. He's not running from anything. He's not. So I don't know. Maybe we may find that this is what America wants. This be like their Ted Lasso, only people constantly dying.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of into that. Ted Lasso, only he kills. Yeah. Ted Lasso, and he carries around a noose.
A lasso.
Ted Noose.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next trailer is for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is the sequel, you know.
Yeah,
to that other one.
With a very conspicuous part 1 dropped in the end. So this is apparently a 2-part thing.
Oh.
At least.
Huh.
I did not notice that.
Mm-hmm. It said part 1 right at the end when it showed the title.
It did. I didn't know what that meant.
I assume it means it's part 1 of at least 2.
Yeah, you're right. The official IMDb title is part 1.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like, oh, is the YouTube?
Right,
is this
like, is this part 1 of the trailer?
Yeah, exactly.
They basically just play a scene from the movie where Gwen Stacy comes back to visit Miles, and it's like, we need you again, Miles. And then we got to go into the Spider-Verse and fight Spider-Man 2099. I mean, I was a huge fan of the original. It looks dope. It's the same animation style. It seems to have the same tone. I'm pretty excited for this movie, actually.
Was Oscar Isaac in the first one?
Yes, in the post-credit sequence, he plays Spider-Man 2099. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's credited in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the first one. I almost have nothing to say about it for that reason, where I'm like, yeah, I mean, no notes.
Yeah, looks good.
What was the name of the... We just keep calling it the first one. What was the name of the first movie?
Into the Spider-Verse?
Into the Spider-Verse, yeah.
That's not different enough title-wise. This one's
Not really.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Just
put numbers at the end.
Give us a goddamn
yeah,
number.
too much.
I think they're going for the across the Beatles song across the universe.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, is the next one going to be Around the Spider-Verse? Is it all going to be things involving the Spider-Verse? Also, what's going on where we have two different Spider-Man franchises doing multiverse stuff? Is that like a big part of the comics? It's just very weird that they decided to do that simultaneously.
I think the Into the Spider-Verse took that kind of really cool idea to sort of blend these disparate universes of Spider-Men. Because all this
Marvel just stole it.
Well, no, I mean it's a Marvel property, so like
right. You know what I mean.
So I think they just saw that and saw it work so well, and were like, well, we could work that into our movies and do a whole bunch of fan service crazy stuff as well. So I think it was probably that.
Yeah,
because it's not like a huge part, or at least it wasn't when I was reading them a few years ago. It's not like a huge part of the comics or anything. They're just different, like one shot or different series storylines that they were having out that just, I don't know. There wasn't anything about connecting them really.
Right. Just seems weird.
Yeah.
Seems weird that they did it and then
I think
the live actions are like, yeah, us too. It's like, okay.
I don't think it's that weird. The first one was like a huge success and won an Oscar, so it's not like that weird that they like looked at it and were like, well, let's do that.
Well, it still feels weird because it's not weird to make more, but it's weird that like they just, I don't know. It's
you've got
like,
the same beats in the trailer of like, oh my gosh, we're interfering with other versions of whatever the villains. This is the Green Goblin from another universe. Like it's like getting the same explanation or whatever. Like I don't know, but
I mean, I definitely want to watch all of them. So whatever.
Yeah, except I think this one will probably be good, and then Spider-Man Far From Home will probably just be a fascinating mess. But we'll see.
Right. Well, again, that's even more of a case against it because it's like, yeah, we're just doing like a knockoff for the live action one. I don't know. It reminds me of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would love it if in the next Spider-Man movie and in every future Marvel movie involving those characters, the reaction is always just, no, it should be fine. I mean, we beat Thanos.
Yeah.
I mean, this is nothing compared to that. So, yeah.
Right, like Dr. Octopus emerging. It's like, so?
Yeah. No, it should be, yeah.
Put my suit on the kill mode and then I'm good.
Yeah, I've got to be somewhere at 3:00, but it should be fine. This shouldn't take that long. It's like, oh, do you realize there's a rift in the multiverse? Like, could it kill half of everything in the universe? No.
Yeah.
All right, then what? Why are you raising your voice? Like, yeah, we beat Thanos. So I don't. This is pretty much all downhill from here.
What can we possibly do to stop Electric Jamie Foxx? It's like, well, I think probably got that one taken care of.
Oh gosh.
Seriously, yeah, just call like a couple Avengers now. I mean, Doctor Strange is going to be there, right? Like Doctor Strange alone can just bend reality and kill all these guys.
We're talking about a different movie, but yeah, it's fascinating that Doctor Strange is a character in that movie and can't just like fix it. He's like, isn't this what you do?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You just magic these dudes out of here. Like, what? Why are you making the kids do this?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Are you worried you're going to get yelled at? Just fix it.
Oh, see, I guess it didn't occur to me that next year's Doctor Strange has the word multiverse in its title, right? It's some other, so it's him screwing up the multiverse somehow yet again, because this from the trailers, this one involves not this movie, but the live action Spider-Man that's about to show up. It's like Doctor Strange doing dimension magic and Peter Parker.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's like a direct sequel, right? Yeah,
I know they had to do a lot of rewrites and reshoots on Doctor Strange 2 because of the order of which these movies and shows were supposed to come out. Kind of got switched around because of the pandemic. Yep. So they had to do rewrites and reshoots on Doctor Strange 2 to match up with what happens in Spider-Man. That's just movies now. So
yeah, it's exhausting.
It is. It's a little exhausting. But anyway, this movie looks nice.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine.
It's all fine.
Any other thoughts on this one?
No?
All right. Let's discuss this Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer. And I want to say that as we were recording, another Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing has been announced.
Yeah, it's a video game.
Yep, by the makers of the Friday the 13th video game. So, shit.
I'm into that.
Yeah. But this is coming on Netflix?
Yeah, apparently.
It's the director of the new Evil Dead as well.
Okay.
What is his name?
Oh, the one that came out in like 2013, or the one that's coming?
Yeah.
Fede Alvarez.
Oh wait, no, sorry, I completely take that back. This is directed by David Blue Garcia.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Maybe it's it's produced by Fede Alvarez.
Oh, okay.
This is, this director hasn't really done much. I guess this is a direct sequel to the 70s.
It looks like it. Leatherface looks like super old.
Yeah.
Is this like another case where we're ignoring sequels that were made?
I assume
we're
so,
doing the
yeah.
Halloween.
I assume this
stuff.
was directly provoked by the Halloween reboot.
So do fans just not care about that part of it? Like, do slasher movie fans that flock to this genre movie, are they like, do they walk in hyper aware of what part of the lore is being ignored, or do they just go with it? Like,
it really bothers me personally, because in the moment we all understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But then add like 20 years and then it's going to be like, I don't know what these movies are. You know, when we like start, it feels like these movies aren't built to last anymore, which is such an old person thing to say. But you know what I mean? Where it's like, you can't just like sit down and watch them anymore. You need like context. Of like, oh no, you gotta skip these and watch that one and then that one,
and you have to read about what was going on at the time when the movie came out. Like,
right, exactly. And it's like, I don't think these feel more like cash grabs than attempts to tell a story, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's all the sequels ever were. In fairness.
That's very true.
Yeah, slasher movies were always the most cynical of all franchises, because all of these started because they saw the money some other franchise made, and it's like, get me one of those, slap me together one of those, come up with your own. And so you're actually blessed when something like Freddy Krueger is so unique and has its own spin and lore and all that. Like they could easily have just done a crazy guy with knife hands, and instead of like trying to come up with something that sticks in your brain. But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing about somebody who works in horror. There's entire segments of the horror making apparatus that has very little respect for its fans, where it's kind of like, these people will buy anything. And it's the whole genre of like intentionally bad horror movies where it's like, these people, they'll watch it ironically or whatever. Or they, I don't know. That's always bugged me. So like here, like, I don't know. Is there that much to be drawn from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre premise that half a century later we could still get new stories from it? Is it like, what do you
like? They've been doing reboots and remakes of Texas Chainsaw for like the past 15 years, and not a single one of them has worked. So it's like,
that's more what it is to me, because like, for example, I think a lot of the problems with like the Alien franchise is they started getting hung up on like lore and prequels and stuff and origin, and it's like, just keep making alien movies, you know, like just keep having people get attacked by aliens. Yes, we'll eventually get sick of it. That seems to be what they do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I think the problem is that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is sort of its time, and that's the appeal, right? Like it's a cult classic.
It's grungy, it's dirty, it feels real DIY.
It looks like a snuff film.
It looks like a snuff film, yeah. And then with the immediate sequel, Part 2, it's like Gremlins 2. It immediately becomes a parody of itself.
Yes, an amazing parody.
Yeah, so...
and I think
that's it. Like, I think that's all you can do with these movies.
That's all you can do unless here's one thing that these sequels seem to be missing, although I haven't watched a lot of them in a while, is like the original also had that like fucked up family scene, the dinner scene.
Yeah.
And like that like, the redneck cannibal aspect. And I feel like no other film has like hit that aspect of it. So like if you found a really unique thing to do that isn't just, the Leatherface is going to kill them and they have to get away. Like if you did more with it, maybe, but it really seems like this was a lightning in a bottle situation.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't like the new Halloween movies. I don't know. I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of expectations for this.
Well, it's the same as anything. It's remaking The Omen. It's remaking The Exorcist, which they're going to be doing, where it's just like, no, we really like the original. Part of its appeal is that it was of its time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And making another is just, it's never going to be, it's never going to be that. Especially when it's slasher movies where it's like, you can't really continue the plot in any meaningful way. The plot of this, by the way, is just, after nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town.
Wait.
So I guess Leatherface was just living.
He's like 78 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an old-ass man.
He's old, and he's apparently just been laying low. Not sure why or how. I'm guessing Alice Krieg is in this as Mrs. MC, and I'm guessing she's just like been feeding him or something. I'm just calling it now that she's like the creepy lady who's been harboring Leatherface.
You don't cast her in a horror movie unless she's going to be some sort of villain.
What do I know her from?
She's the Borg
She's
Queen.
the Borg Queen. Ghost Story. Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, yeah.
Yeah. She's just like creepy lady. She's great. I don't know, man. Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, rather.
Yeah.
I think I saw the 2013 one. What was the one that Michael Bay produced?
He did Texas Chain. It was just called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then he did like The Return, I think.
And then there's Leatherface with Stephen Dorff.
Leatherface, and then there's like Texas Chainsaw 3D. Like there were like 4 or 5 there in between
they
the
should
mid-2000s and like mid-2010s. Yeah,
they should probably stop.
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right. Next trailer is from MacGruber.
Yeah, MacGruber.
Is this a series?
Yes,
it was a series on Peacock, Peacock Plus. Either of you guys Peacock subscribers?
I don't know.
I've been known to Peacock. I actually, because of my job, I have the screeners of this show, which I was going to watch after we're done recording.
Well, shit. Tell us how it is.
It's going to be on Peacock, and oh man, I love the original movie. I love everything the Lonely Island people do, and then of course Will Forte as well. And the show just looks hilarious to me.
Will Peacock let them go like full gore and nudity and stuff?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'll let you guys know as soon as I watch the screeners. But it seemed they put enough of that in this trailer to suggest that it'll be pretty much just like the movie was.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they put Halloween Kills on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have that service, so I didn't know if I don't know what the rules were because
I think it's the same as any other streaming service, except for Disney Plus, where they just kind of have whatever content on it.
Here's my fear, and I'm not saying it's going to be this, but MacGruber has a very big similarity to Austin Powers, right? It's a spoof of a specific action star from olden days. So I'm nervous that this will just be all the same jokes again. I do trust that it won't be, but I think it's just that Austin Powers hurt me. It hurt me in the past. That first Austin Powers is a lot of fun. And in fact, the sequels have some fun stuff in it. But in my mind, that's the only way this could go wrong.
Austin Powers had the same issue that Borat had, and that everybody was like doing that voice for like the next 2 years after the movie. Like it became a meme, and it became like much bigger than the movie. So then trying to do a comedy sequel for now what is like an iconic character, and everybody's worn that costume for Halloween or whatever, I think that constrains what you can do. Whereas here, it feels like if there was ever a situation where these guys were allowed to just get weirder and weirder, this would be it. Like a direct-to-streaming show with probably not a giant budget, but without the pressure of having to like deliver network TV ratings. If ever there was a time when they just could keep getting stranger, it feels like this would be it. Now, I don't know that they have, but I suspect that would be their instinct, would be to just keep taking it further off the rails.
Yeah, that's true.
I suspect.
Yeah. Part of me hopes this is like only 2. Oh, there's also a MacGruber 2 announced, like a movie. So part of me hopes this is only like 2 seasons, and it's what you say. It just keeps getting weirder and weirder until it's no longer sustainable in a good way, you know? Like I don't need like 6 seasons of this and like ongoing storylines.
Yeah.
I just need them to like just dive into the abyss.
Yeah, I would be surprised if this. I think it's 6 or 8 episodes. I would be surprised if this goes more than 1 season, and then just goes directly into that sequel movie. But yeah, the hope of putting these guys like Jorma Taccone and Will Forte and just the writing team, and then Kristen Wiig and everybody that's actually in it on streaming is so that they can just go buck wild.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. So this comes out soon too, like next week soon. Like next Friday.
Really?
This comes out. Yes. That's the other kind of funny thing is they just sort of dropped this. like we knew it was in production for a while, and then like a week ago they sent out not even a week ago, it's like a couple days ago they sent out screeners. Like a week ago the trailer dropped. And then, like, the show comes out next week, so it's like they're dumping it all in a 3-week window.
Yeah, I don't think Peacock is depending on this to be like their tentpole.
No,
yes,
like it may not be on like when you go to the menu when you log in, it may not appear on that first screen when you.
Right.
And you really got to look for it.
I mean, I noticed from the trailer that the effects looked considerably worse. Like, there's like CGI explosions and stuff. Yeah. So I don't think they even threw them that much money. They're just like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Keep it under this amount and you're fine.
But yeah, you can get some truly good comedy that way. Because like the reason the Gremlins sequel is good is because they were kind of just like begged Joe Dante to make it. And he's like, well, if I'm going to do it, it's going to be the stupidest thing you've ever seen. Like, I have no desire. So here it's like, well, we want to make this. They're like, well, we will give you some trivial amount of money, like the minimum it takes to make a show. And they're like, fine. It's like, there's nothing writing on it. They're not, their careers, nothing else. Like they can just make something truly bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Let's move on to the last trailer.
Yeah, speaking of exciting, we saved the main event for last. This is Ray Donovan, the movie. You all were probably wondering if we were going to get to this, but of course we are.
That is what it's called, too.
Yeah.
Like the Alvin and the Chipmunks, the movie.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Sure.
What is Ray Donovan?
What
does he do?
It's on Showtime.
Okay.
Jason, have you seen the show? I have not.
I remember seeing an episode of it back when I had Showtime and I seem to remember Ray Donovan worked as like he wasn't like a private detective, but he was like a fixer for like a crime organization who would like go around basically do whatever. It was just a very open plot type thing because he could do whatever dirty job you needed done. He could steal something for you or retrieve documents or what you'll punish somebody that the police wouldn't. It was just kind of that classic character of you pay him, he will go do it, and then complications occur. And I thought he was like a lawyer. I thought it had been canceled immediately and then found out that it actually ran for another 7 seasons and 82 episodes over the course of like 9 years. And now they're making this wrap-up movie because I guess maybe it got canceled and they told them, well, we'll throw you a 2-hour, like with Deadwood. Like, we'll throw you a movie so you can wrap up all the unanswered questions from the last episode of Ray Donovan, the TV show.
Yeah, it got like canceled, I think, last year. And they thought they were going to get another season, or they still anyway. It happened like you said, where they still had story left to tell, and this show has a not insignificant fan base. So there was a bit of an outcry. So like, all right, well, we'll just give them a movie to wrap up the story, and that's what this is. And as Dave also clearly also hasn't seen the show, so like, I don't know about you guys, but the trailer is, it's kind of incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get that he wants to murder his dad, John Voight, because John Voight sucks.
This probably cannot be the only Ray Donovan thing you've ever seen. You probably cannot jump in with this movie.
It would be really fun to do a review of the movie, though, having not seen the show.
There's no idea who anyone is.
Yeah. The synopsis for the show says he can make anyone's problems disappear except those created by his own family. So clearly, like, the dad stuff is significant.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's part of the plot, which is that, like, his family is, like, a problem. John Voight was in the show as well, which isn't a surprise. Also, Denise Crosby was in it. Tasha Yar from from Star Trek. That's cool.
Are you Yarheads out there?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know, man. Listen, I'm just glad Liev Schreiber had something to do. I wish he would go back. I wish he'd direct again. I remember really liking Everything Is Illuminated, his only feature. But I'm glad he's secure.
It's just
so Ray Donovan money.
It's so funny because you will be. I've mentioned this on Twitter, but like you'll be watching a network that you're usually never on, like Lifetime or like for me the broadcast networks. I never go there except from watching a football game. So I'll be on CBS watching like a college football game or something, and then during the ad breaks, there's all these spots for their other shows, and you realize that it's like, oh, it's this actor who I thought had died 5 years ago. It turns out he's in season 14 of his crime drama on CBS.
Right.
And I just never intersected with it because it never trends on Twitter. It never gets reviewed in the AV Club. Like, all of these SVU spinoffs and all that stuff that are still going. It's like, okay. It's good for him. Good for him. He's still this guy. I always wondered what happened to him. It's like, it turns out he's hugely popular among people my parents' age.
Right. It's the same with like writers, in my opinion, where it's like, these shows must have like 10 people doing episodes, and it's like, good for those. They got a gig. They're doing Ray Donovan. That's great. It's fucking. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd write for Ray Donovan.
Yeah. I'd come up with it. I'd come up with adventures for Ray Donovan.
As long as I didn't have to watch the previous episodes, I just start making shit up.
Come in cold, just start jazzing it, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, let's name some more producers, Dave.
All right. Wait, yeah, that's it for trailers, folks. Mm-hmm. So big thank you to Chester's Prophet. Thank you to Definitely Not Guillermo del Toro. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows. Thank you to Bob Grenville. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to Han Toomey, the confused cyborg. Thank you to Asking Seven. Thank you to Happy Ed 209.
All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Tiger Doors Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd. Thank you to Manischewitz Molotov says the spice must flow, comrades.
Thank you.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Cody Johnson's Time Machine Noise.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pete Vorpagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory.
Thank you.
And thank you to subscribe to Jason Pargin's Substack.
Thank you.
Someone has actually chosen that as their... All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, it is Jason Pargin, Pargin is the last part, .substack.com. By the way, subscribing to it doesn't cost anything. You just literally you just go there and you get it in your email inbox. It's not. There's no hurdles. You don't actually have to do anything. It's completely free.
So subscribe.
Subscribing,
to Jason Pargin's stuff.
All that does, it means you'll get a message in your inbox to let you know when I've written something. That's all that does. It doesn't. I'm not selling your email to anybody.
But you could.
By the way,
that is your power.
I realize we've been recording for an hour and a half now. I've listened, obviously, to the other episodes of this show that you do with other guests, and I know they don't go this long. I cannot tell what they're doing differently that they're able to get through this so efficiently, where somehow mine are literally twice as long. But I don't feel like I'm monologuing for 20 minutes at a time. I don't know what I'm doing differently.
I don't know. You're fine, though. It's a delight. People always are excited for the long ones.
Well, this is the last one you're going to do. This, like, you're going to go into the holidays. People are going to be short on stuff to listen to because they're going to be
exactly.
Oh, it was the last one for the holidays. I should have sang. Okay, raindrops keep falling on my head. All right, there you go.
There you go.
People are going to be listening to this in airports while their flight's been delayed and they've now got to kill 4 hours. Like, yeah, you're keeping them company.
We're doing a service.
People sitting in traffic outside of freaking Houston or whatever they're trying to drive to, and they're stuck and because there's been an accident. Anyway,
they'll have this.
They get to listen to us.
You can listen to this twice, and then you'll be there. You'll be there. You'll be there soon. Okay. All right. So apparently, all right. You go, Dave. You go.
I was just gonna say that apparently Tom Holland is gonna play Fred Astaire in a biopic about Fred Astaire.
Why wouldn't he?
You know, he looks like enough like Fred Astaire.
Also, he's a little dancing son of a bitch. Like he played.
Yeah.
He started out playing Billy Elliot on stage. I think. Like he started his career as a dancer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the script came in. He hasn't read it. I feel like he's young enough. He's new enough that people are just like, "You're doing this," and he's like, "All right."
Yeah,
fine.
I feel like he's the kind of guy that will just like get a script. You want to be Fred Astaire? Yeah, sure, I'll be Fred Astaire.
Yeah, he's just up for it.
He's just excited to do it. I don't know. It would be like you said. He was like he's going to play Fred Astaire in a biopic about Fred Astaire, which checks. It would be weird if he was going to play Fred Astaire in a biopic about like Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, but I would watch that too.
Yeah, or about like Hulk Hogan.
Oh my God, I would watch that. Yeah, that these are all good ideas, right?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this? I don't know. Like, Fred Astaire, was he in Ghost Story?
Yes, he's the one in Ghost Story.
All right, I hope they do his Ghost Story era.
Yeah,
his 1981 Ghost Story.
The film is just about the making of Ghost Story.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
What is Ghost Story? Have you done an episode about it?
No,
we haven't. We watched it on stream, and it's like a movie that's like personally important to me and Dave for some reason. But
yeah, I saw it a while ago, and I really enjoy it. It's a 80s horror movie.
Yeah, it's based on a Peter Straub novel. I don't know.
It's got Fred Astaire.
Fine.
It's Fred Astaire's final film.
Yeah.
And they killed him on camera.
They did.
Controversial choice they made.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called Ghost Story. They turn him into a ghost in front of our eyes.
He had
featuring
to film
Alice Creek.
The ghost parts first, obviously.
Yeah.
This is the type of movie that if I was a young actor that I'd like to think I would do, and that you would get to like, because he'll have to like train to dance like Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
And I would do like biopics of like famous guitar players, because then you spend 6 months learning to play guitar, like where you use it as an excuse to learn to do something really cool. That'd be neat. Now, again, in reality, I realize, listeners, I would not actually do that. I would like to imagine myself as the type of person who thinks that way. Who is like, yeah, this will be, I'll learn how to do this thing.
Yeah.
Cast me as a surfer. I'll learn how to surf. It'll be cool.
Right, like being cast in a movie is the only situation I could think of where I would legitimately learn how to tap dance, and even then, I probably wouldn't. Like,
yeah, it's that, or like if you went to jail,
shooting, and I'd have to pull the producer aside, and be like, "All right, look, I didn't go to any of the classes, so
I know, I said I did, but I didn't. So
I super didn't. Yeah. So you're gonna want to get in a dance double or something."
You're gonna have to handle
Is
this.
Gregory Hines still alive? Oh, he's not. He's not. Okay. Shoot.
Shoot. All right, let me think for a second. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably never going to see this movie, but I hope it's good.
I probably will.
I'm looking at Fred Astaire's filmography and realizing that Ghost Story is literally the only movie I've seen of his. So maybe I should, watch some of those.
Maybe it'll be like another Chaplin.
Yeah.
Chaplin's pretty good.
I do like Chaplin. Yeah.
I hate biopics. I for some reason, this is the one genre of film I can't get into. It's like if I want to see the story of this person, I'll just watch like a really well-made documentary. Like I would much more readily watch that thing they made on the Beatles with actual footage than watch somebody make a 2-hour movie about the Beatles' lives where it's all just, you can clearly watch it and see where it's been dramatized. They've invented a villain for them. They've tried to make their lives fit into a neat 3-act structure. It's like, oh, here's their low point. And it's like, well, but in reality, it actually wasn't that low, but they're they're playing it up for the movie because it doesn't work as a movie otherwise. They always get nominated for Oscars every time they come out. It's I don't know. I've never seen
always
seen
kind
one
of
that I've
anticlimactic. Well, they start. I don't know. They all fundamentally start from the wrong place, which is we have to make a movie about this person. Does it matter if their life is interesting? No, we're gonna make a movie.
I like the approach of like. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I like the. Theoretically, I like the approach of like being the Ricardos or like Pablo Larraín, who did like Jackie and then most recently Spencer, where it's like it's not a movie about their entire life; it's a movie about a very specific event.
Right.
I think that's probably the better approach. But yeah, otherwise, I still like biopics, but I definitely feel the same way as Jason. If there's like, I would much rather watch a really well made, in depth documentary about true life events or about a person's life than to watch the dramatization of it. Because I want to watch the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
What was the Ed Wood, Johnny Depp, I can't remember the filmmaker. Yeah, the Ed Wood, like that was the one biopic that I've liked, but it also was just entirely fictionalized. Like, like to people who watched it, they realized that the real Ed Wood wasn't that childlike goofball. That was a joke for the movie. Like, that was the jokes. Like, imagine if Ed Wood actually had this attitude about filmmaking. But that wasn't the real guy. He was just this.
I really respect it, though. One of the reasons I like that movie so much is like he was just like, well, I'm just going to make an Ed Wood movie about Ed Wood.
And imagine Ed Wood is this guy who thought he was making the greatest movies in the world, and he didn't. Like, you can watch interviews with the actual Ed Wood, or you can watch him in his own movies. Like, he didn't have that pattern of talking. That was all invented by Johnny Depp to be funny, and it was. Like, that's why people remember it, but they only remember it because they deviated from the real guy's life. But yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way about all. It's like it's just fictionalized enough to annoy me because it's not real, but it has to adhere to real life just enough for it to not be interesting as a movie, because real life doesn't play out in neat little chapters, and they always exaggerate like the rags to riches aspect of it. And even like in Purple Rain, like Prince had to give himself an abusive father when his real father was this musician who like co-wrote songs with him and helped him and was extremely supportive along the way. But it's like, well, that doesn't work in a movie. You have to be an underdog.
You need a 3-act structure.
It's like disappointing seeing like Eminem's real childhood home and realize it was much, much nicer than the home I grew up in Detroit. It's like, oh, okay. All right.
We probably don't need to talk much about this.
We can skip that.
Kevin Feige, Charlie Cox, for the reason, Jason, you're saying, which is that, Kevin Feige just said, like, I suppose if Daredevil came back, it'd be played by Charlie Cox. I do think he's being coy. I think he's in
He's probably
the
in,
next
He's
Spider-Man.
probably in Spider-Man, but yeah.
I think they're all
Okay, see, I didn't. Is that why? Because this was trending all day.
there was like some leaked pictures. Also, like Vincent D'Onofrio is tweeting. Like I think there's like I heard they're like hinting at it in Hawkeye.
Right.
I think they're about to dump Daredevil on us.
Yeah. Like I think. For the last episode of Hawkeye that aired this week, they teased somebody who is probably Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. And then they'll probably drop Charlie Cox. Or if they don't. But either way, the news story was that Kevin Feige was asked point blank if Charlie Cox would come back as Daredevil. And he couched his answer. He was like, well, if we bring Daredevil into the MCU, it will be Charlie Cox.
Yeah.
And a lot of places ran with that as Kevin Feige confirms Charlie Cox will return as Daredevil. It's like, well, no, that's not what he said, but he probably will.
The clickbait websites straight up wrote it up like you're getting a Daredevil movie with the Netflix Daredevil guy.
Yeah, I do think Disney Plus is going to pick it up.
Sure, why wouldn't they?
I really enjoyed Daredevil, so that's like part of why I'm so pumped for this stupid Spider-Man is because of these rumors, and I'm like, yes, please. Let's get it. Let's get Daredevil in the mix.
Get Jessica Jones in there.
Oh my God, I'd love that. And Luke Cage can take or leave Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that would be great because that was a really good like, a little offshoot of Marvel, and I wish they bring it back.
And they took place within the MCU, like they would mention the Avengers movies and stuff. So it's like you wouldn't even need the multiverse to explain them. Anyway.
It was just the Netflix thing. And speaking of Netflix, Cowboy Bebop has been canceled.
Yep. Less than a month after it premiered.
That is
I didn't even have time to watch it.
I've not watched it yet. I saw those trailers and thought, well, at least they've made some bold choices here, and then just heard people being mad about it. The show.
Mostly, yeah. I never saw the anime. I was interested in this show, but I haven't watched it yet, and now it looks like it's gone anyway, so...
Right, that's the thing. I have nothing. I got no connection to Cowboy Bebop. I've seen a few episodes and of the original, and it was like that looks good. And this honestly did look kind of appealing, and I do feel like over time it might have found a fan base. So like I get why people would be mad. That's it. That's the extent of my opinion on this, though.
I really do wonder. This is the extent of my opinions. I wonder because every time I log into Netflix, it was always on their top 10 for the day, and of course, Netflix self-reports. So who the hell knows how many people were actually watching it? So I wonder, is this a case of people weren't watching it, or because man, they waited longer than this to cancel that obviously terrible Josh Duhamel superhero show, whatever that was called.
I don't remember what you're describing. So yeah.
Jason, do you remember the show I'm talking about? I think you wrote about how it like looked weirdly cheap, like the costumes looked weirdly cheap.
Oh my God, I'd already forgotten about it. Oh, Jesus Christ. What was it called?
Hold on, I'm going to try to find out.
I want to say like Jupiter was in the name of it or something.
Is it Jupiter's Sons or something?
Something like that.
Jupiter's Legacy.
Jupiter's Legacy. Okay.
Yeah, because
even that like lasted longer than this. So I wonder if they canceled it because of people being mad on the internet rather than its actual viewership.
Do
you think they track that kind of thing?
I'm sure they do. It's all an algorithm, so they try to predict what
Jupiter's
people are interested in.
Legacy, all I can remember, if either of you guys can do a Google image search of the phrase Jupiter's Legacy, the guy in white had that polygonal crotch. He had a crotch that was square for some reason. He had like a codpiece that was like he was a Nintendo 64 character.
I mean, that's dope. I like that. N64 crotch.
All of the costumes had this weird cheapness to them, and his looked like he had like a folded up piece of cardboard as his loincloth.
That is strange. Why is damn?
And my eyes just are drawn right to it, which maybe that's my problem.
No, it's very noticeable.
It's everybody's problem. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
It creates a shadow.
He's got like a flat dick. It's like a flat
right. It's
line.
like his dick is a paperback novel.
Yeah, it's weird.
So anyway, now is this show, this Jupiter's Legacy, Google in my course of me searching this guy's polygonal cock, it has come up and told me they're doing a season 2 of it. Am I wrong about that, or is that just clickbait?
That can't be possible.
Let's look. Reception.
I don't know, man. All I know is, I feel like Netflix, they wouldn't cancel Cowboy Bebop for the internet, because isn't the whole point, like, we don't care if you like it or hate it. What matters is you're watching it. So even if people are hate watching it, they're watching it. And so I don't know. I don't know how Netflix makes any money. So maybe it's like, it doesn't matter if everybody's watching it if they're not like.
It got coverage.
I don't know, man.
People talked about it. Like, people had to watch it because people discussed it to death. Even if they were mad about it, it got attention. So you would think there's no risk in playing the long game and seeing if it finds its audience, or there's a slow build. Like, think about how many TV shows kind of floated around for years before they found, like, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad bombed its first season.
Right.
Like, it slowly built buzz, but this is really fast. And it makes me wonder if there's not, like, maybe behind the scenes stuff where the creator of the show was, I don't know, argued about something, or they demanded he didn't make the second season at like half the budget, and he just walked and they just pulled the plug or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility where they're like, okay, everybody seems to not like, because it is like kind of everything I saw about it, the clips and stuff were like somewhat repellent. So maybe people weren't actually watching it. Maybe people saw stuff online and were like, oh no, never mind. Because again, I never watched it, not even out of morbid curiosity. So I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe there was behind the scenes stuff that would make sense.
Mm. Well, anyway,
it's a shame
it for Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, it is kind of a shame. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm sad, but I am. I think it's because John Cho. I like him.
I like John Cho. I like that it was sort of what we were talking about with the Wachowskis earlier, where this was like really bold. Like it was making some bold choices, at least from all the footage that I saw of it. So it was really trying to be something outside the box or different. And I don't know. It might be terrible. I haven't watched it, so
might be terrible.
If it's terrible, then sure.
I think translating anime is a challenge, because I think there are certain things and certain tropes and certain ways of. I'm not trying to come off like I'm ignorant of the genre. Like, there's certain things that don't. It's the same thing when you watch like Disney do the live action remakes of their cartoons. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that suddenly seem joyless, or they really seem awkward, and it's clear they kept it from the cartoon, but it's like, yeah, but that was a very specific animation thing. Like, the energy is totally different when it's in live action, and with anime, it's even more like these are very distinct. This is a very distinct medium, and so I don't know. I think a lot of that stuff, when trying to translate it to something live action that captures the same feeling, I think you can. To somebody that didn't watch the original, it's just like, well, hell, there's the last Airbender.
Oof.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That was the whole thing.
Like, some of what was weird about that was a filmmaker who was not up to the task, trying to translate, like, well, I've got all these things I want to capture from the animation. It's like, man, that's not a 1-for-1 trip. Like, some of that stuff, staging action is totally different in the world of animation.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily translate.
Yeah. There's also an additional wrinkle where, like, its storytelling is different in Japan. Like, it's not, or like, it's not. They tend to not be structured the same way as like an American movie.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just there's a lot of things you have to account for.
So huge understatement. In terms of, especially when you watch an anime series and you realize that they've done like 400 episodes. You're like, wow, I wonder how they got 400 episodes of adventure out of these characters. It's like, they didn't. There's a lot of filler in there. Anyway, that's...
Well, if you guys feel bad for John Cho, I just looked it up, and he is attached to the Untitled Star Trek sequel, which, damn.
Sure.
Didn't know they were still doing that.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. Yeah.
Give us another Harold and Kumar.
Sure.
Like, I would be so into that. Should we talk about this last thing about Chris Hemsworth's first look of Extraction 2?
I just pasted this. I pasted this in the doc because I knew that Tom had such a fondness for the iconic character of Tyler Rake. And his,
without clicking on it, I'm guessing the picture looks like Chris Hemsworth, right?
Yes,
it looks like Chris Hemsworth in tactical gear on the outside of like a Siberian train.
Yeah. Good for him.
It's snowing where they are, and there are probably several beaten up children lying on the ground out of frame.
A trail of ruined children behind him. Just he pummeled them into
throwing
submission.
them off the train.
For those of you who don't know what we're referencing, the first Extraction, which I realize you probably don't, because that movie kind of just came and went. The Netflix original Extraction starring Chris Hemsworth had a scene where he beat the piss out of several children.
And it was delightful.
It was incredible. It's about 30 seconds, and he beats those kids' asses, man.
Yeah,
they never had a chance.
It's really the only part you need to watch.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything. And in fact, till right this moment, I thought he died at the end of that movie.
He does.
I distinctly remember him being dead at the end, and
they make it a little ambiguous at the end.
Okay.
They tease it.
But he pretty much dies at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is it one of those things where you got the dramatic death scene, but also without the inconvenience of not being able to use the character anymore? Like they squeezed all the drama out of his dying heroically, but also he didn't.
Yeah, they play his death out for a couple of scenes, and then the very last shot is the kid climbing out of a pool and looking off in the distance and seeing a silhouette that is probably Chris Hemsworth, and then the movie ends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. They have their cake and eat it. They have their Chris Hemsworth and bring him back to life too. I don't know what I was trying to do with that. Let's name some more.
No, but that is a trope that has been around since, you know who started it? The Bible.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
You got the heroic. You got Jesus sacrificing himself, and it's like, oh no, he's actually still alive. It's like, okay, it's like stick with your original decision. It's like, anyway.
Real quick.
That's a franchise that prints money, Jason. They were never going to let Jesus stay dead.
Mm-hmm. Man, with the risk of drawing this out more, I just want to announce that the new Guy Ritchie movie has a trailer that we forgot to put in this.
Oh, yeah.
He is churning them out. Wrath of Man just came out.
Yeah.
What was his last movie?
He did Wrath of Man. That was early this year.
Yeah.
And now this movie, Operation Fortune, is coming out January 2022. Like,
soon.
In a month.
Yeah. Also starring Jason Statham.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I can't wait. I haven't seen the trailer. Can't wait. All right. Should we thank producers?
We should.
All right. Boy, big thanks to the Midnight Patron with Patrons at Midnight. Thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you to Andrew, the proud Satanist How.
Sure.
Hail Satan. Thank you to Vincent. Thank you to Rev MD. Thank you to Lauren Gucci. Thank you to Bootler Boodleson. Thank you to Tux. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you to Space McNulty.
All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Oh Great, It's That Guy. Thank you to Nolan Mayton.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew Follow Marina on Twitch and Patreon at Heartfistbrain McGuire.
Thank you.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Burrito Mouth.
Thank you.
Thank you to the ghost of Dave Thomas.
Always.
And also thank you for the ghost of Dave Thomas. You know who you are. Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
To Christopher Robert Spars, Esquire.
Thank you.
To Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J.
Thank you.
And thank you to Pie Guy.
Thank you, Pie Guy.
Dave, we're at the 2-hour mark. I'm not going to do the bit. Tell us what your fucking movies are that deserve more hype.
Yeah, you know, I was scared we were going to go short for this episode.
Uh-huh.
So I brought 2 movies that deserve more hype.
Perfect, magnificent bastard.
The first one is called Death to Metal. This is already out. It came out this week.
Uh-huh.
It is about a priest who talks about how heavy metal music is the music of Satan, who ends up getting killed or getting mutated by radioactive goo, turning into a monster, and now he's just killing a bunch of metal fans at like a concert. That's it. It looks like it's got a lot of weird practical effects, a lot of gore, very like grindhousey. Mm-hmm. That's the first one. What do you guys think?
I'm good. I think this is on Shudder. I feel like I saw this in my queue when I was scrolling through movies the other night. So yeah, I'll probably watch this.
We're pro?
Yeah. I'm pro.
Jason, are you pro? Pro or against?
This might be a little too low budget even for me, but it's clear that like this guy clearly is making movies as like a hobby, right? Like he's not a full-time filmmaker.
I don't know.
But no, this is, I don't know. It feels like a distinctly like 80s era because like is metal even still a thing? But that's why
it's even something that they're still concerned with, the church.
I'm guessing this takes
metal.
Yeah, I'm guessing this takes place in the 80s.
Yeah, I assume.
But there's no way to know.
I think the aesthetic is supposed to be like this is the type of like direct to VHS thing you would have seen, where
right.
like the very over the top, censorious bad guy. Because back in the Tipper Gore era when they were putting the labels on albums and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's always a delight when metalheads get murdered in slasher films. Mm-hmm. I like that aesthetic. I think it's funny. And I think metalheads like it too. Because metalheads like slasher films, no doubt. So I think it works. Okay, but the second movie, and we foreshadowed this last week, is called Amityville in the Hood.
Oh,
this is coming out on VOD on the 10th. That's today. That's the day you're listening to this. It is the movie we talked about. It is a sequel to the Amityville Horror, where someone...
It is not that. They did not have any rights to that franchise. I guarantee you they have no legal right to... There's no way.
If you just look at how many Amityville movies there are just on IMDb, there's like Amityville Shark House.
There's
Amityville
over 20.
Clown. There's so many.
Listeners, but listen, the trailer that he put into the doc has 205 views at the moment of this. Like anyone on this podcast could put up a video of one of our pets onto YouTube right now, and by tomorrow it would have more than 205 views.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying that I refuse to believe that the people that made this movie for an audience of 200 people somehow have the rights to the Amityville franchise, which is...
They absolutely don't.
Well, I don't think anybody does. That's the thing. It's
okay.
It's this thing where, like, again, we're not lying. There's like 20 Amityville movies. There's so many. I was shocked to see that they actually filmed a house that looks like it. Because I know the original house, they like got rid of the windows because they were sick of people showing up there. Jason, how many movies do you think this director made this year?
I don't. It seems like these are not a ton of time goes into these, but even if they're shot very quick and dirty, the editing takes forever. You guys have both edited video before, right? Like editing a feature-length film takes a long time, no matter how low your budget or whatever. So I can't fathom. Has he made 3 movies this year?
The answer is 18 movies.
No.
Yep. They're all movies like this. Ebola Rex is one of them.
Sure.
Hell of the Screaming Undead. They're all, like, a lot of them are knockoffs. That is his average. He made like 20 in 2020. He made 20 more in 2019, and so on and so forth.
Oh, he's killing it.
Yeah. I'm assuming he makes a very little amount of money each film and is comfortable because of how many he makes. This, for people who don't know, it's about weed that's grown in the Amityville property that is haunted weed that is brought to Compton.
Haunted weed!
Yeah. So, that's what it is. It's not good. Yeah. I'm just going to say that it's not good. But if you're looking for some like some schlock, some real bullshit to put on someday, maybe consider Amityville in the Hood. I'm sure you'll get like a few laughs from it. Maybe. I hope. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks terrible,
that's my
Dave.
pitch.
It looks terrible, Dave. I don't know why you did this.
I don't know, to hurt you guys. I wanted to hurt you. Mm-hmm. He's made other Amityvilles. He made Amityville Clown House, which that's got to be good, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to watch that as soon as we stop recording. Fucking Clown House. Put it in front of my face.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do instead is Google what the deal is, like the legal rights to that franchise and the likeness of that house. Mm-hmm. Like, did it become public domain the way with the Dawn of the Dead or whatever?
Maybe, it was Night of the Living Dead. It was never trademarked or something.
Yeah, due to a paperwork mistake.
Well, I have a suspicion is that Amityville is maybe just the name of a real...
Right, I think you can't trademark Amityville, and there's certain things they can do to get away with it. Like, they can use windows that look like those windows, but they can't use the actual picture of the house or something.
Right.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, to be clear, this guy is 100% depending on whoever owns the rights just not bothering.
Not suing him, yeah.
Because there's no money to be claimed. It's more like a fan fiction thing where it's like you're not going to bother suing somebody for writing a thing on Wattpad about Harry Potter having sex with.
Right. It should be noted there are over 30 Amityville movies, or movies based around Amityville, including one called Amityville Vibrator, which, my goodness, gotta see that.
Yeah, throw it into the clown house pile.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it, Dave.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Gonna get to it. But speaking of getting to it, we have gotten to the end of the episode. That's it. That's a so.
Woo!
We've done it at long last.
Well, is this truly your last episode of the year? If so, we need to wish everybody happy holidays and all that. But if you're going to turn around and do another one next week, then it'll just sound stupid.
No, this is it.
This is it. So yeah, let's happy your holidays, you fools.
Happy holidays. Have a great new year. Jason, thank you so much for being on. Would you like to plug something? Would you like to tell the world something? What is your message?
Yes,
to everyone?
The only source of income is my books. The last book, Zoe Punches the Future in the Dick, is out in paperback and also ebook, audiobook, whatever format. Hardcovers you can probably still find somewhere. It's out. There'll be another book next fall, another in the John and Dave series. But right now, that book, any books of the readers for your life, all of my books are well reviewed. They are sure to like all of them, unless they are not fans of the extremely specific style of humor that I do, which is most people, to be fair. So if they enjoy these podcasts, they will probably enjoy my books.
I think that's fair.
Right.
That is an accurate thing to say.
Everybody check it out.
Yeah. Dave, why don't you tell him something?
Yeah, I'll tell him about the movie 5G Zombies by the director of Amityville in the Hood. Mm-hmm. Also about our Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You can go on there. You can find exclusive podcasts for just $5 a month. You have access to Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we also have a store. Head over to GameFullyUnemployed.com where you find a link to our Teespring store where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out.
Check it out.
You goobs.
Hope you enjoyed your holiday commute.
Yeah, I hope you got there. Did you get there?
Yeah.
I hope you got there. All right. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.